All right. Welcome back, everybody. We're excited to be back. Another Friday, another stream. We had a little bit of a switch up, so we've got Angelo on the stream. Hopefully,
Hello.
you guys all recognize all of us at this point, but in the case that you're a new viewer, we're just gonna go around and introduce ourselves. So I'm Alec. I'm an interactive media specialist at NETGEAR. So I do a lot of like video, photo, graphic design for the marketing team, and I help run these streams.
Yeah. I'm Angelo. I'm filling in for Darren, who's usually our tech support specialist, but I'm the senior interactive media specialist. So I run the YouTube channel. I run a lot of manage a lot of the live streams on Twitch, and pretty much kind of everywhere in terms of the content coming in. If you guys are on our socials, there's probably a chance that I had a hand on it. So the social live stream guy, that's me.
And I'm Michael. I'm the technical marketing manager, and I get to spend a lot of my time playing with all of our fun tech and a lot of the new products that come out.
Hi, I'm Ben. You may know me as Stardew Ben. I'm the Nighthawk Pro Gaming Brand Experience Manager. Anything that is touching out to our community through our efforts or influencers or sponsored teams or players, I'm there. So I'm here to answer questions on Nighthawk Pro Gaming.
Cool stuff. And excited to see some familiar faces in the chat. So shout out to Gabriel, who's been here a couple times. Mad Dog, welcome back. And hello, Robert. Thank you for joining us in the chat. Happy to have you here. And while we were loading the stream, we already got a question coming in. So let's jump in and see if we can address that question right off the bat. So this one's coming from Mike here. And Mike let us know that he has an AX6000 extender and was having a lot of issues with it. He tried to connect all of his devices to it, changed the places 4 times, and finally got them to connect. But the speed is low. Even tried plugging it into his what I'm assuming is a switch. His dock is what he said. 90 megabytes per second download speed. My wireless modem is the RAX 80, which I thought would work great with the gigabit speed that I upgraded to 2 days ago. Cable modem is a CM1000. Xfinity Internet fastest speed. Wireless is about 400. Did a factory reset on the wireless router and the cable modem last night. This morning I ran a speed test from 2 feet away from the wireless modem. I think when he's saying modem, I think he might mean router.
Yeah.
I think he might be getting those mixed up. So he's on a Mac. His download is 176 megabytes per second on the 5 gigahertz channel. And channel 128 is the highest it can go. I've talked to NETGEAR Support. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything else on the settings on the router. I'm going to downgrade from gig to 300 or 400 megabytes per second since I can't get it any higher. So what I would say is before you downgrade speeds, let's try to see what changes you can make to your setup. All of your equipment is rated for gigabit speed. So you've got, the RX 80, that router is rated for gigabit speed. You have the AX 6000 extender, that is rated for gigabit speed.
CM1000 as well.
Yeah,
So.
those are all rated for gigabit speed. So there's definitely something wrong in your setup. I would one thing I would look into first is your cables. That's something we always make a suggestion to for people. So are your cables new? Have you had them for like 20 years? These things don't last forever. And you definitely want to be on that newest protocol, which is going to be, Cat 6. I mean, Cat 8 is the newest one, but you'll want to use something Cat 6 or above. So that would be one of the first things I would suggest is check your cables. Another thing, I'm just trying to think of all your options here. If you are running your speed test from directly next to the router, we found out from a viewer actually that Wi-Fi broadcasts in like a donut shape. And if you're too close, you can actually have slower speeds. So you don't want to be like within 2 feet. If you're going to test it for benchmarking, you probably want to be like 5-10 feet away. It probably sounds like your issue is broader than just your speed testing. What would you guys say in addition to any suggestions that I made?
Well, a couple of additions are one, to piggyback on your speed test make sure that when you're running the speed test, double check the server that you're actually pinging against. And usually the best one is to choose the server that matches your ISP. For instance, I have Comcast, so I usually try to select the closest Comcast server to make sure that I'm really getting the fastest speed and I'm not hitting a server that actually is slowing things down a little bit, so I'm not getting the full speed. Also, being wired, if the maximum speed is only 400 and he's supposed to be getting gig speeds, then that's a separate issue from the wireless part, because he should be seeing something closer to gig if he's actually wired all the way through.
I would say kind of one more thing on my side. If I'm not sure if you guys have talked about this before, but enabling or disabling smartconnect to see if that might make a difference. I've seen some comments about if you have smartconnect enabled, and if you guys don't know what smartconnect is, it essentially makes your Wi-Fi all under one Wi-Fi name. Sometimes we've seen a difference when you're able to split the networks and you're able to kind of test the difference between a 5 gigahertz network and a 2.4. Because sometimes you'll see a difference in speeds if you're not actually sure which band you're connected to. That might be also a way to kind of troubleshoot that. You might be connecting to a 2.4 gigahertz band, which might be a little bit more congested, but you might not even know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that that's also a very beneficial thing to do, is to have them split. If you have a ton of IoT devices, so if you have like, a Nest thermostat, and you have Google Chromecast, and Alexa and a smart lock, like all these different smart devices, 2.4 gigahertz is actually going to broadcast further, but with slower speeds. For those devices, you don't need those higher speeds though. So it's really good to decongest that band and put it all into the to decongest the 5 gigahertz band and put all of those IoT devices onto the 2.4 gigahertz band. And then you can use the 5 gigahertz band for, your phone, your laptop, your Mac, so on and so forth. So give all that a try. Hopefully that works out. Could also be, it said you said you had a dock, which I assume is a switch. Could also be that switch is just not rated for gigabit speed. If you're running everything through that switch, you might be getting less than gigabit speed. So a lot of things to consider if you have an older switch.
Yeah, and so Mike will be here until 2 p.m. Pacific time. So we're happy to help continue troubleshooting. So if you have any updates, just comment in the chat, and then we'll be able to help you out.
Yeah, feel free to try it now, and you can report back, and we'll continue to help you. Okay. Question from Kenneth. I don't believe I missed any, did I? No. Question from Kenneth.
Nope.
A combo router, is a combo router better than having one of each? So I think the question kind of boils down to, is it better to have like a modem router combo, like a gateway, or is it better to have a modem and a router separately? This is kind of tricky to answer because, if you get a really cheap router and a really cheap modem, and then you get versus like a really good combo, obviously not. But I would say in most cases, you're going to find that having, a dedicated unit for each part of the Wi-Fi setup is going to be better. And I also think that has a lot to do with upgradability. So for example, Wi-Fi 6 is the new protocol, but you don't need to get a new modem to use Wi-Fi 6, right? If you had like an all-in-one and you wanted to go to Wi-Fi 6, you'd have to replace the whole thing. So I'd say that's one consideration. Anything else?
Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest considerations is the upgradability, because with modems, the standards for modems don't change that often. DOCSIS 3.0 was around for quite a few years. We're now up to DOCSIS 3.1. That's going to be around for quite a few years. While with routers, we're always coming out with newer routers, faster speeds, newer protocols like Wi-Fi 6 now. So it's usually best to keep them separate. Also, when you have to do troubleshooting, having them separate makes it a lot easier to troubleshoot, to figure out exactly where the problem is.
Mm-hmm. And then I would say even the definition of better, I would say that even could be, a mode of preference, right? So in my old house before I moved to this current location, they gave me the option to rent from Comcast, and I was kind of I kind of started from scratch. I mean, I had a couple units just kind of working at NETGEAR that I had on the side, but they were a little bit old, so I was kind of considering, oh, if I got a combo unit, I could just kind of kill two birds with one stone, but which might make it more convenient. If you prefer something that might be a little bit more convenient, where you want an all-in-one unit, you plug it in, you set it up, the modem acts as a router, and you just want to be done with it, that might be something to consider if that's something you prefer. But some people, when they want to have it split, the modem is able to just focus on, I guess when you dumb it down, doing modem things, and the router is able to focus on doing its router thing. You will see that performance benefit. So I kind of see it as kind of a way, if you want something a little bit more convenient, all right, maybe you could consider an all-in-one. But then if you want a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more of that performance, look into splitting into two different units.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially from if you're a gamer, you're going to want a little bit more performance, and splitting out your modem and your router is definitely going to get you a lot more performance out of both of them than any sort of gateway. Most of the gateways that are provided by your ISP are, let's just say, getting kind of long in the tooth.
They're low to mid-range.
Yeah, and they're low to mid-range as well. So you're going to see a huge performance boost just in replacing that gateway. It does require just a little bit more digging into the technology and kind of understanding networking a little bit, but don't let that scare you. We've got plenty of knowledge-based articles. We've got videos. We've got this stream to help you. So I would recommend, if you can ditch that gateway that like Comcast or Spectrum or whoever gives you, you're going to be much happier in the end. I made that switch over a year ago, and my modem at the time was a CM1000, one of the top modems. It's already paid for itself in the savings. So it's don't be afraid to get your feet wet. That's what I'm saying.
Totally agree. Making the jump is worth it. So cool. Well, thanks everybody for the advice. Okay, question from Mahesh, who says, I just bought an R8000P 14 months ago, and now the power light is blinking white. TFTP never works. Can you help? So that sounds like TFTP was that file transferring protocol we were talking about last week, right, Michael?
Right. Yeah,
Yes.
We have instructions on using that to try to force firmware onto the router. But one of the questions would be, is the router even responding to TFTP? If it's not responding at all, then that means that most likely the firmware is just completely, foobarred. And there's not a lot you can do. You can try doing a factory reset, see if that helps. It's unlikely, but that's one thing you can try. But if you can't get in using TFTP, then there's no way to actually force another firmware on there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and unfortunately, all things, routers are mechanically made, products and things that are manufactured and are mechanical, do every once in a while, even to the best of our checking, for quality, every once in a while they, may have a manufacturer defect, or they may just, something may die, but try the factory reset, see if that does something. But yeah, it sounds like it could be dead, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, that would be exactly what I would suggest, is factory reset it, see what happens. Okay, we have a question from Silent Strike number 1, and they're asking, I have a R9000 and I'm trying to figure out how to set up port forwarding to prioritize my PS4 for gaming. So this sounds like something that would be very helpful for you to have a knowledge base article on. So I don't know if you can find one, Angelo, but if we can, let's send that over to him, because it would be much harder to explain it verbally than it would be to just send you a link. It's a whole process. So
yeah, and there's actually two different things to this. If he's looking at setting priority for his PS4, he might mean something different than port forwarding, because port forwarding is to basically direct certain ports to your PS4 so it can tunnel through the router and go straight there. Setting priorities usually under the QoS, and that's just setting that device to have priority over the other devices. So it's depending on exactly what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
go on.
Sorry, I do have a couple links. So actually, I want to kind of go back kind of briefly to Mahesh. I do have a KB article I could drop in the chat. So unfortunately, yes, it does mean that if you have a blinking white light, that is a corrupt firmware issue. I do have a link here. So go ahead and please check out this this KB article, and it might have a couple steps to see what you could do moving forward. And then let me see what I could do on my side to dig up some actual like concrete instructions for port forwarding. Let me see what I could find.
My next question is that PS4 wired or wireless?
Mm-hmm.
That would be,
Yeah.
because there are issues with PS4 connecting wireless. If you can possibly wire up your PS4, I would definitely do that.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest that as well. We have so many people coming into the chat asking about PS4s, and it's just the hardware for wireless is not that good on PS4s. So if you can wire it,
Very common. Yeah, you got to yell at Sony.
it's got to improve. They've got to
fix
improve
that
it
network card.
for PlayStation 5. So hopefully we'll see that. Okay, cool. So a question from Dwight. Just received my new AC1200 Wi-Fi router. Downloaded the Nighthawk app, but it won't pair with my AT&T modem. Any ideas? So I would first check to see if the modem, I'm assuming the modem is some sort of gateway, which would mean that it's kind of like a modem router. So make sure that it's in modem only mode so that the router isn't active anymore. I don't know, specifics about that particular piece of hardware, but it might not be compatible with another router unless it's set into that modem only mode. Give that a shot. That's really the only suggestion I would really have. Make sure you're using the right ports to plug it into your router. So you want to be using the WAN port when you're plugging into the router from the modem, which is going to be yellow. That would really be my only suggestion, though.
Yeah, and I did look it up, and yeah, that is a gateway from AT&T.
Yeah, so
which is both the modem router combo that you were mentioning.
Yeah, so try to find some sort of knowledge-based article or some sort of tutorial on how to deactivate the router on your AT&T unit, and then plug in your NETGEAR router, and it should work just fine. We have a lot of people who ask how to do that, so hopefully that helps you out. Okay, question from Ulaganath. Nighthawk X4S was transferring laptop files at 200 megabytes per second to NAS. It was constant until I hit 200 megabytes per second. The local transfer dropped to 50 megabytes per second. One of the devices is MIMO. How do I get full internet speed, 200 megabytes per second, doing local transfers and wireless at the same time? All clients are at 5 gigahertz AC. If local transfer is in progress, internet speeds are given priority over them. So I think he just wants to know how to give priority to internet speeds over the transfer, which sounds like some sort of QoS thing. What would you say, Michael?
Yeah, it definitely is QoS. I'm not sure, though, in the Nighthawk S4S, if you can prioritize by device, because right now it sounds like when he's doing the transfers, and I'm assuming that that's a wired transfer, he's basically just flooding the connection between his laptop and his NAS with the data that he's pushing through. And so when he's trying to go out to the internet, there's not much of a pipe left out to the internet. Right. You could try putting a switch in there, and the switch might do better trafficking than if you're plugged directly into the router. If you have a switch in there, double check the switch. If it's a dumb switch, then you might want to get a managed switch or a semi-managed switch, because they handle traffic a little better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's kind of a really common suggestion that we make to people just in general, is try to get as many things off of your bands as you can. Just as a general rule, if you can hardwire it, you should hardwire it. I mean, obviously, you don't want to sacrifice convenience by like running a wire across the hall, but if you can use a power line adapter or a tri-band extender and then hardwire to that, that's always better than having a bunch of stuff on your airwaves. Like for this stream, my only connected device is this laptop, and that's what allows me to run these streams so smoothly. So that would
Yeah.
be a biggest suggestion there.
Yeah.
Cool.
The X4S is a little bit on the lower end spec, a little older. So the QoS kind of settings aren't going to be as full-fledged as what we come out a little bit more recently, especially compared to, let's say, the Night Upper gaming routers or some of our Wi-Fi 6 routers, or even on the managed switches, as Michael has mentioned. So take a look to see what you would be able to consider in terms of kind of like maybe either adding a little bit more equipment or kind of filling with the software. But again, let us know. We do these every week. We'll be here until 2. So happy to help.
Yeah. It definitely, it's something that you could prioritize by device. You want to check that in the QoS. I'm not sure. It might be just prioritized by IP address, which is one of the older.
Yeah, how's it look? It's a drag and drop.
Yeah.
By IP. Okay.
Cool. Let's head over to the next question. We have a question from Robert Conway, who is asking, do you guys make a Wi-Fi 6 extender? I saw some new mesh system, but that's an extender, isn't it? So we do make multiple Wi-Fi 6 extenders. And yeah, a lot of them are kind of included in a mesh system. So what a mesh system is going to be a router paired to an extender. I mean, even just one pairing is going to be a mesh system. But you can obviously expand mesh systems to have multiple units, multiple satellites. So for example, one that we just launched and we did that live event for it was the MK62 and MK63. And those are Wi-Fi 6 Nighthawk mesh. That's a kit. It's a kit. So you're going to be getting a router and a satellite, or 2 satellites if you go with the MK63. If you already have a good router that you like and you just want to buy the extender, we just released an EAX 80 extender. It is a Wi-Fi 6 standalone extender. Or if you don't want to commit to something, that high end, or you don't feel like you need something that high end, I believe we started selling, or we will start selling very soon, an MS62. I believe that's what it's called. It's just going to be, is that what it's called?
I believe so.
MS62. It's basically going to be just the satellite from the MK62
Yep.
kit, and you'll just get the satellite, and then you can pair that with your router. So
Yeah.
hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Oh, and one thing to add to that, since he was asking about mesh and whether or not it's an extender, mesh is sort of like the next generation of extenders. With the old style extenders, whenever they connected up to your router, usually your speed would be cut about in half. With the mesh extenders, you don't get that hit of having the speed cut in half because of the way that it handles the traffic between the extender and the main router. So you definitely want to get a mesh extender if you're going to be getting an extender these days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Totally
so
agree.
Robert, the big question is, do you already have an existing router that you would prefer to keep? And if so, then that's when the mesh extender would come in, where you could connect it to your current setup, keep it all under one Wi-Fi name, or just in reality, you just don't need to change your router. But if you want to completely overhaul your network and you want something kind of like the MK62, which we mentioned, that will already have the router and the satellite included. You're gonna replace the router you already have. You don't need that. Either you take it back to your ISP or you do whatever you want with it, and then you would set it up as a brand new network. So that's where I would kind of leave you off.
Cool. Okay. So next question is from Steven. Only getting a max of 650 megabits per second on Ethernet with my new Orbi AC 3000. Previous ASUS router was giving me a min of 9,000 megabytes. I'm sorry, 900 megabytes per second. I get 950 directly from the modem. So this is Well, firstly, what I would ask is, are you plugging into the Ethernet ports of your extender or of your router? If you're connecting to the Ethernet ports of your extender, I would say that this is simply just, it's not going to get that high from the extender. It's not going to go at that speed. I mean, it could in a controlled environment, but if you have walls, if it's, on a different floor, you're not going to be getting that exact same, you know, quality as if you had it in like a controlled setting, which is where the rating is done, is in a controlled setting, the speed rating. So, but if it is connected to the router, you should be getting higher speeds than that. And I wouldn't really know what to suggest. Michael, what would you say is a possible reason as to why he's not getting those speeds?
If he's actually wired in, then he should be getting the speeds figure around 900 or so, depending, because with a gig connection, you never actually get the full gig.
Mm-hmm.
But the 650, that's good if he's connecting up to his satellite. That would actually be considered fairly good speeds, because you're going to lose some speed because you're actually going through 2 hops. So it depends on whether it's wired in or not. If it's wired in and he's getting about 300 meg less, then I'm not really sure what would be causing that. He could check the Ethernet cable that he has plugged in, make sure that it's a good quality cable. Make sure that actually in the Orbi, you don't have to worry about prioritizing devices as much. So that would be the first thing that I would check, is probably the cable, if he's wired in, and get a good Cat 6 cable.
Okay. Yeah, that would really be my only suggestion.
I would agree. I think that's the first step of troubleshooting is, plug it directly into the back of the Orbi and see what your speeds are there. That would get you a better idea of if it's just an environmental Wi-Fi issue or whether or not it's another issue.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I would see if because there's going to be that difference if you're connected to the satellite versus the router. So I would kind of test wired on both units and see what that speed difference is.
Yeah, and your environment really does affect your Wi-Fi speeds. Microwaves, having a lot of different Wi-Fi channels in your area, concrete walls, steel walls, brick, all of that will affect your wireless some in some degree or another.
Mm-hmm.
Even aquariums.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, we talked about that. No aquariums. But also even the time of day, if you're testing, let's say in the middle of the day, it's Friday, it's the middle of the workday, especially if there's a lot of, people sucking up bandwidth in your neighborhood coming from your modem, you're going to see a speed difference there than, let's say, you're speed testing in like the middle of the night. So, it's hard to do that one-to-one comparison between products, but test it out. There's a lot of factors that play into here. So and let us know.
With more people working and doing education from home, you've got more people on your cable nodes than you ever did, before. So that is going to also affect your speeds as well.
Totally. Cool. So lots to think of. All right. So the next question we have is from Vanessa. And Vanessa says that she paired an X10 with the best cable modem that is certified to work with Cox. And is there a newer modem than the CM1000 that I should purchase to use with the X10 router? I bought them both in 2016. And then Robert replied that the CM1200 is the newest one. And Vanessa said, is using a second X10 router connected to the first X10 a good idea to extend the Wi-Fi and networking further? She's getting close to a gigabit at 3 a.m. Eastern time. So, firstly, to answer that first question, the CM1000 is the top tier modem that still uses DOCSIS 3.0. And then once you get into the 1150 and the 1200, those are going to have a new technology, DOCSIS 3.0.
I mean 3.1.
3.1, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear that dog? I might need to shut my window. But anyways,
No.
sorry. But anyways, if your ISP has compatibility with DOCSIS 3.1 and your home is outfitted to have DOCSIS 3.1 and you want to upgrade, I think DOCSIS 3.1 is a fantastic technology, and I would say it's definitely worth having to get better speed coming into your home. But that's situational. We had a viewer, a very regular viewer, Adalberto, mentioned that he can't use DOCSIS 3.1 in his home. So it just depends. So that should answer your first question. Now, your second question is a bit more complex because there's a multitude of approaches you could take to this. I think the simple approach to extending your network is to get a mesh extender. You already have a Nighthawk unit, so you could go with the Nighthawk mesh family very easily.
Yep.
So I would go with, you do have a Wi-Fi 5 router, so there's no point in upgrading to a Wi-Fi 6 extender unless you intend to kind of go back in the future and get a Wi-Fi 6 router. But if you want to stick with your router for a couple more years, I would just get a Wi-Fi 5 extender. We've got the X4S, the X6, the X6S. These are all great options, and they're pretty much you get what you pay for. So whichever one you think is in your price range and what you want to spend on an extender, just go with that. Honestly, I don't really have any other suggestions.
No, I
That's
don't
pretty
either.
good.
That's pretty good.
That pretty much covered it.
Yeah. Good job.
I just want to shout out to Robert. I am not in the Batcave. I'm actually in the Rebel base on Yavin 4.
Yeah, I saw the LucasArt like tag at the bottom, and I couldn't tell where that was.
Hey, and
Yeah.
then just for a couple of the folks that we've already helped out. Sorry if I'm like staring intently into my camera or my computer because I'm getting some links to help you out. So I'm going to be dropping them in the chat. So if I go silent, you know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I wish you guys could see like how like devices that we have. I have like 2 devices, one for this camera. I've got my phone for looking up on the fly questions. Just yeah, I don't know if you
Yep.
guys have that whole setup where got multiple devices to try to figure out like
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
Multiple monitors, multiple computers,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a
So it does
tightly
kind of
run
look like
operation.
it looks like a budget bat cave if I was running it from if you could see behind the scenes.
Awesome. But we appreciate your questions, guys. We can kind of see it piling up. So
Yeah, keep them
let's
coming.
see. So keep dropping them in and we'll get to them as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So many questions.
So
Where are we right now?
yeah, the
Where
next
are we?
one's from the next one's from Captain Crumpet, or Crumpito.
I
Grumpito.
love it. I love it.
I like that name. What's a good modem to pair with a Netgear Nighthawk router in the UK? I'm
Okay.
using a standard British Telecom hub box at the moment. Well, if you go on the website, you can see what modem is like rated for your speed. So whatever you're paying for, you can kind of match, whatever speed you're paying for, you can match it up to the right modem.
Yeah. You'll also have to see if let me check British Telecom, see if there's any compatibilities.
Because I know, especially in Europe, DSL is a lot more popular. So we want to make sure that what you have is, the right system for, the kind of port that you have.
Yep, and make sure that it's even available in the UK. I went out to the Amazon UK site and checked, and the CM1000 and 1200 aren't listed on their sites. So I know that a lot of the products we have in the US aren't available in the UK.
Yeah, because the Smart Hub is a gateway. So I'd almost treat it like a gateway and pop it into bridge mode and then have a router go on it. But
yeah, it's possible. Is it DSL or no?
Probably depends on.
I believe it's DSL. I'm looking right now.
I wonder if they all have all of the British Telecom boxes are the same.
Yeah, because there's a couple things you want to look at here. So it looks like you're currently using a hub box, and you're looking for a modem. But then even if you get the modem, you're gonna have to look into getting a router unless you want an all-in-one, which is something we mentioned a little bit earlier in the stream. So there's a lot. There's a lot to consider here. So let us know if it's DSL. Let us know if it's not. And then if there's a modem that catches your eye, we'd be happy to recommend a router that could go along with it.
Cool. Okay. Well, we have a question from Gabriel, who is very near and dear to our hearts. He's a regular viewer. So shout out, Gabriel.
Shout out.
Would you recommend a CM1000 or a CM1100? So this kind of boils down to a DOCSIS 3.1 versus DOCSIS 3 question. They're at similar price point. I mean, 1100 is a little more, but that's kind of the terminal point in the lineup between 3.0 and 3.1. It just depends on whether you have what you need to have 3.1. If your ISP supports it, if you're outfitted to use it, in which case I would suggest the 1100. But if you're not, get the 1000 because there's no point in getting the 1100.
Yeah. Though the 1100 is backward compatible. It supports both DOCSIS 3.0 and 3.1. If your ISP supports 3.1, then it'll kick it up to that speed. So if you wanted to buy something for the future, it's still not a bad thing to get, depending on the pricing.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you could upgrade to the fastest and best, we will tell you upgrade the fastest to the best, because who doesn't want that? But yeah, just take a look at that compatibility there. But I think the 1100 should work with you.
Yeah, I would go with the 1100. I'm trying to upgrade from my CM1000 to an 1100, but I'm having the issue of getting Comcast on the line for that. So you really, I applaud you for wanting to upgrade at this point in time. So it's taken me a couple of weeks, and I still haven't been able to really get through to their customer service. So I'm going to attempt again. I'll report back next week, but it seems like the ongoing struggle.
We've had this conversation multiple times on the air. It seems like you just keep getting curbed.
I do. I keep getting bumped, and I'm on the line for like 2 hours, and I understand with the current situation, it's tough, but man, I really want my DOCSIS 3.1.
Yeah. I'm stuck on AT&T fiber. I can't even, really change my modem. So I'm only able to plug in my Nighthawk into my existing modem, which I have gigabit speeds, but, even us NETGEAR guys, the ISPs, make it a little tough for us sometimes. So we understand your struggles everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
The struggle is real.
Okay, so next question.
Awesome.
Robert, thanks for helping people out in the chat. Keeps answering questions for guys. So thanks for helping us out. You're making our jobs easier.
We appreciate it.
So a question from Zen. My upstream power levels are below 36. I really wanted to say 9,000. My upstream power levels are below 9,000. Let's see. Quite a few are below 35. I only have upload packet loss. Is there anything I can do, or is my provider the only person that can do anything? I'm not familiar with upstream power levels.
Yeah, and that pretty much all of that is controlled by your ISP. There's nothing that you can do on our side, on the modem side, to be able to actually increase those power levels. And sometimes it's even capped by the ISP. So
I would say more than often it is capped.
Yeah. So yell at them. Yell at your ISP.
Yep.
That's our advice.
Okay. Well, hopefully that answers your question, even though it's kind of a bad answer.
Yes.
I'm very sorry.
We tried.
Not our finest hour, but
yeah,
that's all we got for you on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah. Two options: the provider and then yourself. Unfortunately, it's only the provider. So.
Yep.
Cool. We got some kind wishes from Brian. Thanks, Brian. Hope you're doing well too.
Brian.
Let's see. Okay, so coming back to Mike's question, who asked the initial question about his speeds on the AX 6000 extender, only getting 90 megabits per second. I check the cables. The cable going from the cable modem to the RAX is the cable that came in the box, so it should be good. The network cable is going from my laptop dock to the AX 6000, and it's Cat 6. smartconnect is off. All IoT devices are on 1.6 or 1.4 gigahertz.
Okay. That all looks like it's going in the right direction.
Yep.
The first thing that I would note, though, actually, is if there's any way to plug in directly to your laptop. If your laptop has an Ethernet, port versus plugging into the dock, that's one factor I would take a look in. See if you could plug it in directly to your laptop and see if you see a difference.
Yeah.
Yep.
What I would also say is test it on another device. Test the wireless on another device. So maybe what would be really good is if you have like an iPhone 11 or something that is Wi-Fi 6. Go in the room that has the extender, don't hardwire to it, and test the speed and see if you're getting like good speed. 90 over 99, and then that's going to kind of tell you that it's an issue with your between the port on the extender to your laptop. Something's going wrong there, whether it's on our end, on the device's end, or on the dock or something. There could be, it's going through a lot of hoops before it gets to your laptop, and something could be going wrong there. So I'd say look into that.
He also, I scanned quickly down, and he also said, I forgot to ask, would it be faster to plug the extender, the AX6000, with Cat 6, or just use the 5 gigahertz wireless signal?
Wired if possible.
Yeah, if you can wire.
Yeah, basically you're turning it into a wired access point, and then you don't have to worry about any sort of interference that you might have going through walls, other devices in the house. So if you can wire it, it's always best to do it. But most of the time with the extenders, people aren't wiring them because they can't run wires.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And also something I mentioned before. Again, there's a lot of factors here when it comes to speed testing. Right now it's the middle of the day. A lot of people are working from home right now, and if you're testing right now, try to see if there's a difference. Maybe if you're testing a little closer to the evening, maybe not even closer to the evening. A lot of people are streaming in too, but try
early in the morning. They're
times.
Sleeping in.
Early in the morning is probably the best.
There are these different times that sometimes it's just like out of our control. It really depends on kind of what's going on in your actual neighborhood, in your location. Because if there's a lot of people using, all these cables going in the ground all at once right now, that could affect it. So try different times too. That might be able to help.
Definitely. Okay, a question from Ulaganath. I believe QoS applies for internet traffic. It may not have impact on air traffic, local transfer. Both clients set to high QoS being dual band only, and not both clients is MU
MU-MIMO.
Yeah, is MU MIMO capable causing drops? I believe for this I might need a third band to route load, and how a second X4S bridge look like. I can get 100 megabytes per second local transfer via the A7K, so bridging at 1730 megabytes per second. I'm getting a little lost in the question. Is anybody else understanding this?
I think A7000. I think he's using an adapter, right? So, okay, here, let me try to see. He needs a third band to route the load. The second X4S bridge, okay. I can get 100 megabits per second local transfer via the A7000. So bridging at 1733 megabits per second. Does it affect other AC clients when 1733 is busy? I would just, I guess, looking at the last part of the question, does it affect your other clients when you're loading, kind of loading up a whole band? Say yes. Obviously you're transferring files, some of your other client devices might get affected with those speeds too. And again, I think with the X4S, that is a little bit of one of our older lower spec routers. And if you're doing a local transfer of like a huge file, that's going to probably have more of an impact than, let's say, comparing it with one of our newer products like a Wi-Fi 6 device, which is intended to relieve that congestion. you might be hitting that congestion slowdown, and that's where you're kind of seeing that impact on speed.
Yeah, and if everything's going directly through the router, that particular router's got a 1.7 dual-core processor, which really isn't that beefy these days, because most of our like pro gaming routers, they're quad-core routers, so they can actually handle a lot more data going through. If he's doing a hardwired transfer, though, from his laptop to his NAS, then I would definitely recommend putting a switch in, because that way the switch can actually do the routing between the laptop and the NAS, and it doesn't have to go through your router and have the router have to process everything as well as the Wi-Fi signals that are trying to get out to the internet.
Okay. Well, hopefully that answers the question. Let's see. Question from, hold on, let me make sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay, no. Question from Robert. Robert has the RAX 200. It was very expensive. I want the best mesh extender I can get for that. So the best you can get for that right now is going to be the EAX 80, which, in our naming conventions, you would, if you wanted to kind of pair it to your RX 200, you get an EAX 200, which is like the same spec. That doesn't exist yet, and I don't really know what the plan is for a launch like that. And even if we did, we couldn't talk about it yet. So I would say, if you want something now, go with the EAX 80, because I can't guarantee that there is ever going to be an EAX 200, and I can't ever guarantee that there's going to be an EAX 120 or a 160. So I'd say just go with the EAX 80. That's our best Wi-Fi 6 extender right now.
Yeah.
If you want to uproot and go over to an Orbi system, you could, but I wouldn't really suggest that, because I think the RX 200 is such a great router. I would stick with that, to be honest, and just go with the EAX 80. Anybody, any more advice?
No,
No.
you got it.
Nope, that's good.
Got it.
That's the best thing we got. So,
Go with the EAX 80.
fully agree. Yeah.
Cool. If you're wired, gaming is better. If you're wired gaming, is it better to plug in your Ethernet cable into your router or straight into your modem?
I always recommend that you should have some sort of router rather than just straight into the modem, because you've got other traffic that you just limited it just to your computer that is, or console that is plugged into your modem, because usually your modem only has one
Ethernet
port. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and it also depends on your router. If your router has advanced QoS functionality, device prioritization, application prioritization, geofencing, and other things that perhaps a Nighthawk Pro gaming router would have, that would definitely help your connection. But just plugging it straight in, that's just I'm gonna kind of put it up to it's an old wives' tale with the whole plug it straight into your modem and get a better connection, because you are, but it's only one device, and if you're by yourself in a well, who knows, because we're all sort of in bunkers, but if you're by yourself and you connect it, that's fine, but there's usually other devices. You got your phone, you've got your other stuff, and if you're in a household, you've got other people that want to use the internet too. That just reminds me back of the days of good God, dial-up, where somebody was like, "Get off the phone! I'm trying to be on AOL." So yeah, so
Right,
I would definitely not recommend it. It's always better to plug into your router. Long story short.
That was like, I only experienced that at like age 5, and then it never happened again.
You're so lucky. You're so lucky.
I know, I was born into the world of like the folding Game Boy.
I merely adapted to the internet. You were born.
It was after AIM was on discs that you had to throw into your computer.
I did use, when I was in kindergarten, we had old computers, and we did use floppy disks for those computers. So I did put a floppy disk into a computer. So,
but what size floppy disk? Now that's the
It
question.
was like
Oh.
yay large, maybe.
Yay large.
It's 3.5 inches.
Sure.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, as
It
long
was
as
like
long as you know
Oh my
I'm trying to
God.
find something
Microsoft
that's
Word,
like the same size
you're
as
good.
it. It was like
Was it solid casing,
it was like
or
this
was
big.
it bendable?
No, it was solid.
Okay, yeah, that was a 3.5 inch floppy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that
I
you
I
should have gone with
recently watched
the 5 inch, or seen the 8 or 10 inch floppies that they used
the
to shove in
9-inch
machines.
floppy. Oh my
Yep.
God. The I recently watched, I think it was Star Trek or something like that, and they were downloading and something to save, and they clicked on the 3.5 inch floppy icon. It's like, what? Nobody's used like floppy disk for 400 years, and yet it's
Good.
still the icon.
Okay, they can never
love it.
change it though. They're not allowed to change it. It has to stay the
Mm-mm.
same.
Yeah, what's it gonna be?
I'm
A
gonna be
USB stick?
offended if they change it. It's ridiculous. It's like it's
Crazy.
biblical now.
Yeah, well, people are born now where there isn't even disk drives. They've never seen a disk drive before.
I haven't had a disk drive on my past like 5 laptops at this point. It's not
Yeah,
a
me
thing
too.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
Let's see here.
what else we got?
Question from Mahesh, who mentioned that he knows what the blinking white light means, and that's why he was bringing
Yes.
up TFTP. And he wants to know if there's any tutorial on how to do the TFTP
TP.
transfer
Yep.
correctly for the
Hmm.
corrupted firmware issue.
We actually, I know, have KB articles out there on using TFTP to upload firmware. So you should be able to find it somewhere on our support site.
Hmm. So it did drop a couple KB articles. So
Yep.
you did mention that you have read it through.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Let me go ahead and let me ping. We have a support team on the line too, kind of offline. Let me see if there's another resource that we could send you. So yeah, because that's kind of a tough issue if your firmware is corrupted. You're trying to get in, trying to upload your firmware. That's sometimes not always the easiest or most fun thing to do. So let me go ahead and see what I can do to get more info.
Cool. So we'll come back to that.
Mhm.
In the meantime, we have another question from Mike, who was our viewer with the EAX 80, I believe. I forgot to ask, would it be faster to be plugged into the extender with the Cat6 cable, or just to be on the 5 gigahertz wireless signal via either of his devices? Well, naturally, it's faster to be plugged in almost any case, but it sounds like there's some issue with your connection between your laptop and the extender on the hardwired connection. So I would try the wireless connection and see what happens. But typically,
Mhm.
wired is better. Any? I think that about
No,
does
No,
it.
wired removes all of
wired.
the possible variables that can cause problems. So it's
Yep.
usually the best thing to test. In certain instances, you can actually get faster speeds off of wireless than wired if you have a very high-end laptop or adapter, and then you've got one of the high-end routers, because they can do beyond a gig, and most of the wired connections are gig at this point.
Yeah.
But yes, I definitely would say go with the wired and test that, then try the 5 gigahertz wireless and see if it does any better.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. So the next question is from Armin, who says, "Does Cat 8 make any sense? As I have a cable that says Cat 8, when I connect it to my NETGEAR Orbi when I connect it from my NETGEAR Orbi to my desktop, the speeds are low.
Hmm.
Cat 8 really
The
isn't
first,
like a domestic protocol, is it?
yeah, it actually is now. But
Okay.
the answer to that is no, it doesn't make any sense. Because for one thing, Cat 8 cabling is incredibly expensive. To give you an idea of cost differences, a 10-foot Cat 8 runs about $20, while a 10-foot Cat 6 runs about like two to $3. So there's a huge
Wow.
difference in cost, and you're not going to get the benefits of the Cat 8 because the things that you're plugging into aren't really going to support Cat8 speeds, which can go anywhere between 25 gigabits per second up to 40.
Oh, wow.
So at this point, it's way overkill, and so the Cat8 is just going to be acting the same way as a standard Cat6 or Cat6e cable is.
Gotcha. Well, there you go.
That makes sense.
Should sell that Cat8 cable on eBay or something, make some money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because my understanding was that Cat8 is like totally more so geared for like servers and like, non-domestic use, but it sounds like it might be kind of changing gears a little bit.
It's going to slowly move into the consumer market, but you're right. It is meant
Gotcha.
for servers and server racks, things like that, because it's shielded cabling, which
Gotcha.
means that it's not
Right.
going to be having any interference from the electronics around it.
Gotcha. Okay. It's cool. I didn't know that. Okay. Vanessa is who was asking about the cable modems. Says that she's using her phone at the moment, laptop near me, using the 5 gigahertz connection to the X10.
She was asking about an extender and using another X10 to extend, and we told her to go to
A mesh extender.
exactly.
Yeah, and it makes more sense because a lot of the power that you're buying with that extra router, you're not using, because all you're using is almost like a dumb access point, which is
Right.
why you'd want to use a mesh extender instead.
Which is what a mesh extender is a dumb access.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Right tool for the right job.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she followed up kind of further down. If I were to replace the X10 and the CM1000 to connect to my Cox 1 gigabit speeds, what would you suggest? I would suggest, yeah, a mesh system. I'd say if you're in the market to replace the whole thing, yeah, go with a mesh system. If you want gigabit speed,
Yeah.
get a Wi-Fi 6 one that's rated for gigabit speed. You can get the RBK 752. That's a great product we just released, rated for gigabit speeds. It has Wi-Fi 6. You'll need to pair that with a modem, obviously, but yeah, I would say just take a dive and look at the extender options for you. I'm sorry, mesh system options for you if you really want to just do away with the whole thing and start fresh. Cool. Okay, let's
Yeah,
see here.
totally agree.
Trying to find where I was here. Okay. Does a Wi-Fi 5 extender work with a Wi-Fi 6 router? I already have the EX8000. Should I throw that in the
Should I
trash?
throw it in the trash?
No, you should not throw it in the trash.
The answer is yes, it does. Yeah, you're not gonna get the full Wi-Fi 6 capability from it because it's only supporting Wi-Fi 5. But unless you have other Wi-Fi 6 clients right now, it's not going to matter much until you start upgrading. So yes, a Wi-Fi 5 extender will work.
Yes,
gonna work.
and yeah, and that's a great extender. I wouldn't just toss it out.
Yeah.
Use it until you replace it.
Yep.
Yep. Agree. It's one of our highest end extenders, and also e-cycle. I would
Yes.
say e-cycle. Don't throw it in the landfill. So let's save the environment. But yeah, totally,
And
totally
if
agree.
it's working, give it to your neighbor.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
Someone's gonna love
there
it.
you go. So because
Look
somebody
out
can
for
use
each
that. That's
other.
a great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great product. I
I'll
love
take
that
it.
extender.
Send it to me. No, I'm kidding. All right. Follow up from Ulaganath. If an X10 user has a Wi-Fi 6 extender, can it support HT160? I'm not sure I've heard of that before. I'm going to default to Michael on that one. But this person
Okay.
wants to get a phone or computer that supports Wi-Fi 6. Can they take advantage of Wi-Fi 6 and Fastlane if they have their Wi-Fi 6 extender connected to a Wi-Fi 5 router? So I think kind of if you boil it down and put it in lay terms, the question revolves around, can I get a benefit from a Wi-Fi 6 extender if it's routed back to a Wi-Fi 5 router? That's kind of the basis of the question.
You could get a little bit of benefit because the Wi-Fi 6 extender is, if you have Wi-Fi 6 clients attached to it, and one client is talking to another client, they can both still be using the Wi-Fi 6 enhancements. But through the Wi-Fi 5 router, you're going to be limited to what that Wi-Fi 5 router can do. One benefit you would get, though, from the Wi-Fi 6 extender, if you happen to have, say, for instance, the Wi-Fi 6 phone, is that when you're connected up to it, the power use on your phone is going to go down dramatically because Wi-Fi 6 phones and 6 routers or extenders have a new way of handling communication between the two of them, so it drains the battery far slower on your phones. So there still is benefits for it.
Cool. Yeah,
there you go.
Totally agree. Yeah, but then, the other part of it is if you're connected to the X10, let's say you're closer to the X10, you'll still go back to that battery draining kind of part of Wi-Fi 5. So, just if you get the extender, maybe put it in your office or a special place in your house. But we still, recommend to have it, Wi-Fi 6 with Wi-Fi 6, but they'll still work with each other.
Cool. Okay, we have a question from Logan here, who I asked to come onto the stream. He was asking me for some advice, and I had no idea what to tell him. So I had him come over to the stream, so, get some more knowledge. But he has a CenturyLink Technicolor C200T modem router combo, and I was getting some pictures of this thing, and the back looked very weird. I was like, what is going on here? And he's wondering if he could upgrade to a NETGEAR router, basically, and use that modem router from CenturyLink as like just a modem. So
he might be able to. This is something that you'd really need to talk to CenturyLink about, because normally what you would do is you take the modem and you'd put it into bridge mode, and then you can plug your router into that, and it acts basically just as a pass-through. But because that particular modem also supports VoIP, voice over IP, so VoIP phones actually being plugged directly into it, there's no way to know if it can be put into bridge mode, and if it is, whether it then turns off the VoIP capabilities of it. So that would be something you'd want to check with CenturyLink to find out. But if you can put it into bridge mode, then yes, you'd put it into bridge mode, attach whatever NETGEAR router you want to it, and then you'd be fine.
Cool. Okay, that makes sense. So what if he's not using voice over IP?
You'd still want to double check with CenturyLink, because you never know what happens inside their boxes when you turn things off.
Gotcha.
So you want to just verify that it's okay if he's not using VoIP and you turn it into bridge mode. Is that going to affect anything?
Gotcha.
It shouldn't, but you never know, since this looks almost like a custom box that was built for CenturyLink.
Yeah, it was such a strange looking unit. And I just wasn't sure what was going on when I got the photo of it. I was like, what is this device? But okay, cool. So hopefully that helps out. I think another thing that I know Ben has mentioned before is asking to get the newest unit from your ISP. You're not going to be paying anymore because you're already renting equipment. So just call them up and be like, hey, can I get the newest one? Like, this one isn't doing very well. I'm getting poor speeds. I'd like the newest one.
And sometimes you will get the same. They'll say send it to here, and then you'll get the same thing back in a box about a week later. And at that point in time, then you start looking at the compatibility chart, and you probably purchase a NETGEAR product at that point in time. But you see if you can get something that's newer. I'm always skeptical on ISP equipment. I really think that most of their equipment is at least, you're lucky that it was made in this century.
Well, to back that up, this is actually an 11N router. So that tells you how old it is.
Oh, that's
it's
like what, 7-8 years old?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe
that must be a crazy bottleneck if you say you got a Wi-Fi 6 router and you threw that in there, that'd be kind of like a gnarly situation. So
that's what I was saying.
Try to get out of that 11N. That's nuts.
Yeah, so you're probably looking at difficulty of running more than 5 devices at the same time on
Yep.
N.
Yeah, he
It's
says that he
weird.
gets between like 1 and 20 megabytes per second
Yep.
on the speed test, but when he's hardwired, he gets 200. And so I was like, okay, your
Hmm.
router
Yeah.
is your biggest problem.
Yeah. On 11N, that's going to be very slow. He's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
even using AC to connect with.
Cool. So he's
Yeah.
like barely even on Wi-Fi 5.
You're really
Wi-Fi 4.
you're really using about 15, almost 20-year-old technology.
Yep. And if you can't actually put it into bridge mode, you can still connect another router to it, and you will have two different SSIDs, and you can just ignore the SSIDs that are coming off of this to connect into your new router.
Yeah.
It just shows more things on your SSID list when you try to log in. But if you can't put it into bridge mode, you can still work with it that way.
Yep.
Cool. So it sounds like
Mhm.
there shouldn't be any reason not to upgrade the router. I mean, that would be the biggest benefit. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I would say totally look into just getting the newest one. I mean, call up CenturyLink, see what's up, I guess. I don't know.
Like, what the heck, man?
Just
What
be
is
like, I'm on N. What are you doing? Like, give me the
it?
give me the new one.
Give me the goods. There you go.
Okay, cool. So hopefully that helps. He gets the friends and family discount because we're buddies. Um, all right. Um, let's see. Will getting a network card improve my speed over using the Ethernet port on my motherboard? Um, no.
That
I'm
depends
gonna.
on the connection that you have.
Actually, yeah, that's
If you
fair.
have
Yeah.
if you have something like what I've set up here, I've got one of the GSM gaming switches that has a 10 gig port in it. So I slapped a 10 gig card in my PC, and yes, definitely there is a speed difference there. It really depends on what other devices you're connected to. If you're already connected, if all your other devices are 1 gig, then putting another card in there, if your computer has 1 gig, you're not going to really notice any difference. But if you can bump it up to something like multi-gig or 10 gig, then you're talking.
Gotcha.
Wow.
I kind of read
That's
that as
awesome.
like a wireless card, but yeah, no, totally
Yeah.
like totally what you said. I mean, if you have multi-gig devices and you need a
Yep.
multi-gig port, put a new network card in there. Um,
Yep.
Yeah, you'll get some crazy speeds off of multi-gig. So
Yep.
highly recommend that. I was gonna
And,
say a little something about the A7000, but yeah, it looks like you're trying to stick it on hardwired and then just try to keep it like that.
yep. If you're going for wireless, then yeah, definitely upgrading to a good USB adapter connector like the A7000 would be a good idea.
Yeah, that's what I use. Yeah, and it works
Yep.
great. Mhm.
okay, cool. Let's see. I'm using fiber on the British Telecom hub. I didn't even know there was any fiber in Europe. That's cool. So this Captain Crumpito has fiber. Awesome, man.
Wow.
That's good.
Well,
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. There is fiber there. It's just the the hubs tend to be the gateways tend to be there's a lot of proprietary technology that the
Yep.
ISPs use there.
cool. Okay. Cod Cater says, I have a Xfinity fiber connection. Am I stuck with what it gives me, or could I plug in a Netgear modem with a Wi-Fi 6 router? Unfortunately, we do not have any
Okay.
fiber modems. It's a question we get a lot,
Yeah.
so it's something worth bringing up to our product team, which is what we really love about doing these streams is we get to kind of be the messenger for you guys, giving us suggestions. We can go talk to the product team and be like, hey, people want this. We have proof that people
Yep.
want it. So,
Yep.
in addition to questions, ask or give us suggestions for stuff you want to see. But to answer your question, aside from my tangent, no, you're at the very least stuck with the modem. You could pair it with a
Right.
Wi-Fi 6 router if you want Wi-Fi 6. I'm assuming your fiber gateway doesn't have Wi-Fi 6. I don't think any ISPs provide Wi-Fi 6 equipment at this point, which
Nope.
is a
None of them at this
travesty.
point.
They should, but they don't.
Don't
So
give them ideas.
yeah,
Yeah.
put it in bridge mode, like we just suggested to the person that had the AN or the N router modem. Put it in bridge mode,
Yep.
attach a router to it. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, and actually that might be kind of up to Captain Crumpito too. I don't know if we're able to offer anything for a fiber modem because he's using fiber for his hub, but That's kind of the situation that I'm in. I have AT&T fiber, and I really can't do anything about their modem. But what I was able to do is I have an RX 200, which is one of our highest end Wi-Fi 6 routers, and my speeds, they work great. They work great enough. I wish I was able to get closer to gigabit, but that's definitely a word we could pass on to our product team. Me too, included.
Cool. Okay. Let's see. Shout out to Aaron, who says,
Yeah.
Aaron, what's up? Shout out.
NETGEAR is the
thanks
best.
for being
Is
on the
that
show.
our buddy Aaron? Is that?
Yeah, that is.
Oh,
That is.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, Aaron?
Yeah, shout out to Aaron.
Shout out Aaron.
He's been, on the Nighthawk Gaming side, is a very close contact of ours. So appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, welcome. If you have any questions, let us know.
Yeah.
He has an XR500, right?
I don't believe he does. I think he has probably some sort of Comcast thing. So I don't know.
Oh, man.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Yeah, what you doing over there?
Come on, man.
No.
All right.
Can't-
Question
can't
from
give everybody.
Yeah.
and
then here, I just wanted to shout out Vanessa as well.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Vanessa.
we do these every week. If they help, we want to see those comments because that's what's going to allow us to keep on doing this. If we had like 4 people watching and people were upset at us, then we're not going to do it. But we appreciate you guys, everyone, for joining and dropping all your questions. And that's us. We love to help and you guys.
Yep.
I
And
think
thumbs
we
up
hit
to Vanessa for the 300 baud modem in the early 80s downloading code. Now that's going to be slow.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
I don't know that.
This is our nostalgia period where we're talking about floppy disks. Man, that shows how far back our questions are, and how many questions that you guys have really kind of put to us.
Yeah.
We normally we're only a couple minutes behind, but man, you guys have been hitting us with questions today.
Yeah.
Keep them coming. We'll try to get to everybody, but that shows we're 15 minutes behind everybody.
Yeah, so we'll try to go them as fast as possible. But again, we want to, I think our
want to give everybody due diligence.
We want to spend quality, one-on-one time. Obviously sometimes it's kind of some people don't want to call support and get waiting. Hopefully we're able to kind of condense that. But again, we're here to provide quality answers, not just to kind of rush them one by one, get you out of here. So, let us know. We want to hear your feedback.
Yeah, we got another, just to continue on the tangent. Vanessa says that she used to code on a DEC magnetic core disk.
Magnetic core. Yep.
I have never heard of that. So
I don't even know what that
throwback.
is.
And an IBM card reader teletype.
Wow.
That's the ones that punch. Those are punch cards, isn't it?
Punch cards.
Wow.
Dang.
Wow.
I remember. I'm from Arizona, and me and my mom and I, we thrift a lot. We like to go to Goodwill, and she found a typewriter, and she's like, "This is what I did. I used it at my first job, when I was right out of high school." She works in banking. She's like, I used to type on these, type up people's finances on this, and it was one of the ribbon ones with the spherical ball that has all the characters on it, and it rotates and then hits the ribbon.
IBM Selectric.
Yeah, that's what it was, and it works.
Yep.
We plugged it in and it works,
man.
and she's like, I'm buying it. It's a throwback.
The funny thing is that was advanced for typewriters. Before that, where they had individual little guys that would punch their way. That was a huge. The IBM ball was a huge innovation in typewriters.
Yeah, there you go. I think my mom watches these too, so hopefully she gets a little throwback to when we bought that typewriter. It's still in her office. All right.
For Vanessa, for a very quick throwback, one of my instructors was telling me a story when I was taking computer classes, and he said, he was in the era of doing the punch cards, and he'd done his whole program on punch cards. He had them in a box. He was walking it down the hall to the machine reader. He tripped, and all the cards went all over the floor.
Oh
And so
Oh
no.
he
no,
had
that's
to
so
spend
sad.
hours sorting the cards back in order for the program.
That's crazy.
Oh my
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just like, we're
yeah.
we're streaming from 4 different locations now to like, everyone in the chat, everyone who's watching right now, and it's a different
Yeah,
world.
if we did that on
Imagine
Oh
punch
trying to do
cards,
this.
we would like deforestate the entire world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually have to apologize to my high school typing instructor because I did not pay attention in that class, and I was like, when am I ever going to use typing ever?
Yeah.
Little, I know.
yep.
You were that guy in high
I
school,
was
weren't you,
that
Ben?
guy.
Oh no.
Unfortunately, I was that guy.
Oh no.
All
Now,
right.
if you ask me to handwrite something, I probably couldn't.
Yeah, me neither. Cursive? No way.
Yeah, and to answer
Hmm.
Dan's question about he has the ProSafe 8 port gigabit switch, the GS 108. It's old, but is there any reason to upgrade it? Not if it's working for you. I use the GS 108s all the time when I'm doing events, and I have a big box of them, and they are great. Just hard-working switches. Unless you
Mhm.
need faster speed or more ports, they're perfect to use.
Yeah,
And
Those
I have a
those
GS
things are like,
series. Go ahead, man.
yeah. I was just gonna say the GS series are absolute like workhorses. They're like those Subarus that could get up to like 300,000 miles on them.
Yep.
Yeah.
They don't die.
I agree. I use one at the office personally. It's literally like underneath Ben, like underneath our desks. It's
Yeah,
like collecting dust. It's probably kicked like at least like 8 times, 20 times a day. It's like the Nokia brick phone of
Yep.
switches,
yep.
and if it works, it works. That's probably one of their. Yeah, it's actually it still sells really well for how old it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
if it's working for you, there's no reason to replace that thing. In
yeah,
fact, that thing
I
will
love it.
probably work for another 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one at
At
work
that
too, and
point,
I love it.
at that point, you'll be sentimentally attached to it, so be
Yeah,
careful. So
exactly. Also,
who would
it'll
have
be an
thought?
antique, and you should be able to recoup your whatever you put into it at that point in time. Save your box.
All right. So, continuing on, um, got a question from Ulaganath. Would an
Hmm.
X10 still be better compared to an AX 6000? Currently, no AX clients. Need lag features, 80 Wi-Fi, 6 gig SFP. With dual Wi-Fi 5 gigahertz in the X10, um, it can do a bridge with the X4S extender and a dedicated second 5 gigahertz for others.
Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what he needs. He's nailed down the feature set that he wants, and that's
Yeah,
pretty much the only one that we have that gives him all of those features, except for the XR 700, which is
yeah,
pretty much
it,
a sister to this, but for the pro gaming line. And it has the lag features for two of the ports. 80 Wi-Fi if he actually needs that. There's not really a lot of 80 clients that you'd be using. Definitely the 10 gig SFP port, and it's got the
yeah.
dual 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So yeah, that's what you need. That hits pretty much every bullet point that you wrote down.
Yeah, and if you are wanting some advanced prioritization features, then I would look at the XR 700
Yep.
for the Doom OS that's in it.
100%.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, got a follow-up from Mike, who had the issue with the laptop on the dock. He said that he ran a speed test on his laptop wireless and was getting faster speeds. So it sounds like,
Hmm.
and that he used his Pixel 2 and was getting even faster speeds. So it sounds like, Mike, there's an issue with that wired connection going through the dock into your
Yeah,
laptop. So I would
Yep.
say, you know, ideally you wire to it, but if there's an issue, then you don't. If you're only using the dock for that wired connection, I would suggest getting like a USB adapter for your
Yep.
Ethernet port.
Yeah.
Try to get like a USB 3.0 or even better, a USB-C, and use
Yeah.
that instead of the dock. I would say the dock is the issue. Yeah, something like what Angelo has, and I have one over here as well. Although
Yep.
I'm not hardwired right now, but I would say
yeah,
try that. It sounds like the dock is the issue. If you want to get even higher speeds, you could hardwire your extender directly to your router and run a cable, but it's not really for everybody. That involves, either a power line adapter or like putting it through the wall, like getting in the attic and like
Exactly
it's up
what.
to you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, a couple other factors there, and then Mike also did follow up when he connected on his phone. It's faster than the laptop, so that is odd because I mean, obviously wired, wire should
Well, it
be
sounds like he has a
a little
Pixel
bit
4,
faster.
which is Wi-Fi 6
Yeah.
enabled. So I think it might
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
byproduct of Wi-Fi 6. Maybe the laptop is a little
Mhm.
older too.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally something's wrong with your wired connection, like for sure.
Absolutely. Well, especially
Yeah.
since with the wireless, he was getting 235, which is a nice wireless speed, but that's faster than what his laptop was getting. And being wired, he definitely should have seen better numbers than that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I would suggest to get what Angelo just showed off, the dongle attachment, and then use a brand new Cat 6 cable. Unless your cable is not that old, you can continue to use that. But I'd say first get that dongle, then if that doesn't work, see if the cable is busted or something. Um, but yeah, cool. Okay. Vanessa said she's going to look into a mesh system, and she's going
Mhm.
to consider the cable types when she buys her mesh system.
Yeah.
Mesh
Don't
system.
overpay.
Yeah,
Yes, don't overpay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let us know what you get. Feel free to hop back in the chat and let us know how you liked it.
Yeah.
If you had any issues, if you want to report back. But before she reports back, she wants to know what is the newest mesh system router that can replace my X10. Can I study on the NETGEAR website? Totally can study on the NETGEAR website. I'll actually hop on over to the view of the website. I can show you like what the store looks like right now. So me personally, I'm part of the team that works on the store, so I'm very proud of the way it looks. So if you like it, shout us out. Yeah, so you can actually scroll down here, and at the very bottom, what you can do is shop by category. So you can see we have Nighthawk Mesh, which is kind of a more the way that Michael kind of made the analogy earlier on one of the earlier streams is Nighthawk Mesh is like Android and Orbi Mesh is like an iPhone. If you want something that's
Yeah.
simple, you don't need to do a lot of setup, it's really intuitive, just go with the Orbi. Obviously, that has a premium because it's easier to use if you want to kind of tinker with it. And yeah, I'm assuming that you probably want to use the Nighthawk Mesh because you used to code on punch cards. So I'd say go with the Nighthawk Mesh. But you can click here.
But we promise you don't have to code on punch cards to get it to work.
No, but we could actually, if there's a need for that, we could suggest that that there's a portion of our audience that wants to go back to punch cards.
A little side card
Oh,
reader
no.
in it, it'll be perfect.
There you go. There you go. So here are some of our mesh systems. So, well, to kind of put it in an understandable way, these are the mesh system packages that you can buy as the whole system, nothing else. You don't need anything else. You just get this and a modem and you're good. However, it's not the only way to attain a mesh system. You could also go and individually buy a router and then individually buy an extender. So, this is your all-in-one solution where you just get what you need. Currently, we're selling the MS60, which is just a satellite, and we're selling the MK62, which is going to be a router and a satellite. Eventually, we'll sell the MK63 that's currently a Costco exclusive, but we'll eventually sell that. However, if you wanted to get something a little more DIY and kind of build your own kit, what you could do here is go back to the NETGEAR store, which is under Shop Now. Cool. And you could buy any of our Wi-Fi 6 routers here using the Wi-Fi 6 button here. I think we also have a sale section up here. Deals of the week. Yeah. So you've got some, well, I guess we don't have any Wi-Fi 6 routers for sale, but, oh no, we do. We have the RX200 for sale. But good timing on what I'm looking at here on the screen. I'm sorry, you guys can't see this, but I can see it.
It's okay.
We have the EAX80 for sale, which is exactly what I was going to suggest. If you want to get a mesh system, you can get a Wi-Fi 6 router and then pair it with the EAX. extender and kind of effectively build your own kit. So lots of options. That was kind of a long-winded answer, but I hope that helps. Cool. So, oh, she wasn't even asking about Wi-Fi 6. I totally just went on a tangent. Well, our only
just the best mesh system, honestly.
our
So,
only
I mean, you
mesh,
went well.
like our only Nighthawk mesh system is Wi-Fi 6. If you want to go with Orbi, you can, but just based off of your love of coding, I feel like you'd appreciate the Nighthawk mesh just because you like tinkering with stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
See, that's personalized help for you. That's
yeah,
not
there
just
you
a
go.
sales pitch.
I had to return the AX6000. My NETGEAR support said there is a known issue. I was getting horrible speeds on my 1 gigabyte line. Purchased the EX8000 and corrected the problem.
So,
AX6000 had like 50 to 100 megabytes per second.
yeah, I was scanning this as you're going on your Nighthawk mesh pitch, Alec. So it seems like one of our guys here in the chat, Vince. So you've already reached out to support. It seems like this is a known issue. So of course we don't want, ideally we don't have these issues, but it seems like you're not alone here, Mike. So just kind of going all the way down, I think you guys are considering the EX8000, which will bring you back down to Wi-Fi 5. But if you're looking for kind of a short-term kind of solution, that will help out your speeds here. Eventually, we have software guys. They will be working on, at least I'm assuming they are, on correcting the problem. Unfortunately, I don't know if they've given you a timeline yet, but there you go. I would say that, Mike, you could kind of help troubleshoot along with what we've helped you out with already on the show. But not saying misery is company, but we found some commonalities here with Vince. So thank you, Vince, for letting us know.
Yeah.
I'll kind of leave that decision up to you guys if you guys want to start kind of doing some product exchanges or if you just want to wait for the firmware upgrade. But it seems like that we're able to diagnose a little bit more into this issue with help from you guys, which is something we like to hear. But we appreciate you guys being loyal customers, though. I guess at the end of it.
Yeah, and I saw there was
maybe
oh,
maybe we'll have them email us and let's see what we can do to maybe help them out.
Yeah, I know for a lot of people, we've been able to send like beta firmware over. So if you want to email us, I mean, Vince, I know you already sent it back, but Mike, if you want to stick with it and see if it's something we can fix, or I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to just switch over. But if you want to stick with it and see if it's something that gets better in the future, per what Angelo just said, you can shoot us an email. Angelo will put the instructions in the chat so it's more clear, but put hashtag stay connected in the email title to NETGEAR support at netgear.com. Angelo will put it in the chat. We can send you beta firmware when it comes out. See if it helps you at all.
And I'll give our support team a ping so they have it coming our way. So I'm gonna drop it in the chat right now. It's gonna be NETGEAR team at netgear.com, and then add hashtag stay connected into the subject line so we know you're coming from the show. That way we're able to kind of filter out all the other requests that we got coming in, so we could help you a little bit more. Cool.
Okay, cool.
And just want to say we're in the final half hour, so get your questions out there. We're going to try to get to everybody as best we can. So
definitely.
Yeah, and I saw a post there from Jazzy about the ReadyNAS 212 that keeps saying it's going offline multiple times a day. I'm guessing since it's the 212, you've had it for a long time, so there is possibilities of hardware failure, etc. But first off, getting those emails, usually that means that the Samba module is crashing or going offline, and then it's restarting, which is the reason why it keeps going offline and coming back online again throughout the day. So one thing you can do is go in and make sure that you're running the latest firmware for your ReadyNAS. That would be the first thing, because that could correct your problem. Also, you can go into the log files and take a look. And if you go out to the ReadyNAS support forums, the community forums, you could go out there, post the information from the log file, and the people out there can definitely give you a lot more help and information on troubleshooting Ready NAS issues.
Cool. That's why Michael's here.
Yep.
He knows everything. All right, good stuff. Totally missed your message earlier, Adalberto, but thank you for coming back. Adalberto is
Oh,
one of our number
good
one
to see ya.
fans. So thanks for coming back. Glad you're
Yeah.
here. Got a
Appreciate
comment
it.
from Robert who says, Alec, what's your address so I can send you this extender?
then he sent a just
Hey,
kidding
drop your
on
address.
top. Yeah, on top of it. So sad trombone for you getting an
I
extender.
know. Well, I actually have that exact extender. Okay, so
Okay, where are
let's
we?
see. We
Hey, look at
are.
Vanessa though. Yeah, we got. Sorry, a little another throwback action. So I can't relate to this personally, but I don't know if any of you guys can. I rewrote the IBM cards for the immunization program for Elmendorf AFB. I required 4 full-length card reader boxes of cards. I used a hand truck to ferry them from coding Capella typewriter across.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
They should do like a documentary on you, Vanessa.
Man,
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's really cool.
dropping a
So
box of cards.
she
Man.
says she can
My
empathize with dropping a box of cards. Oh man.
Yep,
Yeah.
and don't tell us when the code crashed when you were running it through, what you had to do to go and recode it, create new cards, and do it all over again.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've done programming going all the way back to my days of having the VIC-20. But my favorite thing about programming is when I run it for checking on errors, and it's like there's an error on line 158. And I'm like, wait a minute, this program only has 120 lines.
Yep. Or if you want to be geeky, it's telling you the error's on line 128, but the error really occurred on line 80 and cascaded down, and that's when it finally said there was a problem.
And then we could go down the rabbit hole of JavaScript, where JavaScript is the funnest to program with because most other program languages are like, whoa, I don't think we could do this. This will break stuff. JavaScript just lights up a cigarette and says, let's roll the dice.
All right. Got a question from Armin who asked about the cat cables. And he says, since Cat 8 is not very ideal for home use, what about Cat 7 or Cat 7a? Which would be best for using with a desktop computer?
Cat 7 and 7a are still kind of overkill with technology right now.
Yeah.
It does give you theoretical faster speeds if you had the network cards to be able to do it. But at this point in time, 6A is probably the best cable that you really need. When you get up into 7, we're not making anything that's actually supporting that, and probably won't become common for another 4 or 5 years. Also, there are limitations on both 7 and on 8 that those maximum speeds you're getting from them are usually limited by distance, and the distance is in just a few meters. So if you were trying to do a long cable run and you were using a Cat 7 or a Cat 8, the actual maximum speed would be lost because of the distance. But 8 is good because it's shielded. So if you have to run it along electrical wiring in the house, if you're actually wiring up your house, at least it's shielded so you never have to worry about interference from other electrical lines or devices.
That's so interesting. I did not know that. What amazes me about Ethernet cables is they're still innovating on like the same kind of platform. Like, I feel like USB changes every like 5 years, right? You have like USB 2, USB 3, USB-C.
Yeah.
Who knows what's next?
Yeah.
Ethernet has been around for so long, and they're still updating it, and it's still getting better. I'm just like, when are you guys gonna be done with this? Like, is there a new one coming out?
At 9.
Well, then a little factoid on your Ethernet cable, you'll notice there's 8 actual wires on the end. If you actually count the number of
Yeah.
pin edges, they're not all being used.
So it can still
There's
keep
a
going.
couple. They can still keep going. There's a couple of lines in there that normally are not used at all in the connections, like your standard connection between computers. They don't use
wow.
all of those connections. There's a couple of dead lines there.
It never ceases to amaze me.
I know.
So you're telling me it's like the movie Limitless, where maybe eventually they're going to come up with something to take full use of 100% of those pins, like you're using 100% of your brain.
Yep.
10% of your brain.
And at that point, we're superfluous, and then the machines are going to take over.
Oh man, there you go. That's what's gonna, that's phase 2 of the world.
That has to be the Michael deep cut of the day. That's what it is. This one I'm nominating for the deep cut of the day.
All right, let's see.
I had no idea.
Question from Ulaganath. Does the active antenna have a patent?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it does. Yeah,
Okay.
The active antennas that we have on our systems, we do have a patent on. Or I should say patent pending, because patents can sit in the patent office for decades, but as long as you filed it, it's yours.
Yeah. Cool. So, and then he was just talking about how do the AX routers have that active antenna, that active technology? I believe they do. Right?
I do not know. I would have to look. I know with the Wi-Fi 6, they've changed how some of the Wi-Fi is being done. So I'm not sure whether we actually had to go to active antennas on that or not.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, something to look into. Vanessa says she's going to get the router, a new cable modem, and the mesh stuff. So it sounds like she's going to piece together her own kit, which cool. That's what I would do personally. So.
And then program it all with punch cards.
There you go. That's what she's going to spend her stimulus check on. So, hey man, going to good use. I can't think of any better way to spend it. Cool. Is there another beta software for the Nighthawk AX12? I'm not sure, Adalberto, but we could ask. And if there is, you're our beta tester, so we'll send it your way. Okay, let's see. So a question from NB. CM1100 and an RAX 120 or a CAX 80? I would suggest getting the modem and the router separately for reasons we mentioned prior. I'm not sure if you were tuned in, but upgradability is much better if you have them separately. Maybe Wi-Fi 7 comes out in 2030 and your modem is still good. You don't need to upgrade the whole thing. You can just upgrade the router. What would you guys say?
I'll just kind of echo what I mentioned before. So it's like, if you think that having all-in-one is more convenient for your home, let's say, maybe even just for like aesthetic reasons, like, all right, the CAX80 is like an awesome machine because it has DOCSIS 3.1 and Wi-Fi 6, which is props to our product team and our engineering guys, because that's pretty awesome stuff that no one else, I feel like, I haven't seen come out with. But if you want that performance boost, you will see that with a separated standalone modem and standalone router.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the RAX.
Yep.
Just because I'm a tinkerer and I want performance. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Shout out to Michael from Jassy. Thanks for your help.
Glad I could.
Yeah. Awesome. And then I got an article from our support team, so I dropped it in the chat below just in case you need any additional online resources to help you out there.
Okay. So, question from Robert Conway. Okay, guys, challenge. What would be the biggest and baddest Wi-Fi setup you could build for retail residential customers with a huge house?
Oof.
Well, surprisingly enough, our number one bestseller is our $1,000 RBK 853. That thing's a beast, and we sell a lot of them. People like them. It's one of those products where, just to kind of share thought process, you make it and you're like, this is so overkill, but like, people might want it, and people want it and they use it and they love it. We get very few returns on those products. So, I'd say RBK 853, probably.
Yeah.
Yep. Of course, it depends on when you say a huge house, how huge. If you're looking at something that's like 8,000 square feet, then you're going to be wanting to go to business level of product and things like wired access points around it and so on, because there's going to be so many walls, so much going through the walls that any just straight Wi-Fi system is going to have problems.
Right. I would
go on.
Would you go with like a Orbi Pro at that point in time?
An Orbi Pro would be good. Really depends on the size of the house and the layout. But yeah, an Orbi Pro system would be good to cover something between, say, 5,000 and 7,000 square feet or so. When you get bigger than that, then you're talking about something that's the size of 2 or 3 houses.
And then you would do something more as like an enterprise level installation at that point in time.
Exactly.
Yeah. And with that, I would, if I was making the baddest setup, I would run wire to all of my APs.
Absolutely. And of course, also put in the outdoor access points. If you're doing the Orbi Pro, then you can do the outdoor Orbi. But that way you can have awesome Wi-Fi, blasting around outside your house as well. And if you have a house that big, you're going to have a lot of land to go along with it.
Right. You're going to want, if you're going to have a house that big, I'm assuming that you have a pool, and you're going to be wanting to catch up on the latest, TikTok while lounging in the pool. So yeah, you're going to need that extra outdoor Orbi.
There you go.
And probably power over Ethernet, PoE, as well.
Yeah.
And let's throw in a Pro AV wall while you're doing it. Since
absolutely.
House,
there you go.
You probably got a media center. I'm going to do a Pro AV wall there too.
Yeah, Pro AV wall, the M4300 in there. Yep. And encoders and decoders, you're set. I can set you up with it too. I've set up enough of them.
Or, if money isn't an issue, you could just buy NETGEAR and then, develop the best product for you. No, I'm kidding.
And I thought you were going to say buy NETGEAR and then just have all of us do the work on the house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like all of our employees, sees what you're doing. Let's go set up this house.
Now, if we were going to develop a new product, we could probably have something with 50 or 60 antennas. It'd probably weigh about 80 pounds and probably put out radiation within it raised the ambient room temperature by 15 degrees. Anywhere you get 20 feet in close to it, but it would put out a Wi-Fi strong signal for 10,000 square feet.
Yep.
There you go. All right. People seem to be liking this thread because Vanessa had a follow-up kind of in the same line. How about the best router and cable modem system that I am working on? All devices except for phones and tablets. Wait, hold on. How about the best router and cable modem system that I am working on? All devices except for phones and tablets. I'm not sure I understand that first little bit, but I think what I might be understanding is you want it to even go outside into your patio and your oven area.
Does the outdoor Orbi, is it agnostic as far as being a mesh? You can hook it up to any system. So
yes, you can.
So take a look at it. The outdoor Orbi is incredible. You can have rain, sleet, snow on it, and it will get Wi-Fi out to that wood-fired oven area for afternoon pizza and drinks.
Yep. Yeah, it's 100% weather resistant, so it can be directly in the sun, rain, wind, and it's not going to be affected.
Yeah, I've actually set one of those up before for a video shoot, and those things are beasts. Like the mounting hardware is hardcore. It's like NASA tier. It's ready to go to Mars.
And we just got a follow-up.
Looks like Robert wants to buy us. He's asking how much we cost these days.
We would all certainly lose our jobs if we answered that question. Without a doubt.
We just got a follow from Vanessa. So wired connections to all devices except for phones and tablets. And so if you put outdoor Orbi into extender mode, it'll work, pretty much virtually the same as our regular mesh extender. So that the fact that you'll have only just probably a small subgroup of devices connected to maybe that outdoor Orbi going to your other mesh satellite, you'll have blazing fast speeds to pretty much everything, honestly.
Yeah.
That'll be a pretty good setup.
Something I would suggest though, just out of concern for not needing to overspend, if your outdoor area is just like a patio and like maybe a little yard, you could get a regular Orbi and just put it like on a table right next to your door or something. That's another option. If you have a big outdoor space though, and you kind of want to put something in the center of it, or like something that broadcasts like really far, like you're on like a ranch or something, definitely go with the outdoor Orbi.
Funny
No.
you said that because that's exactly what I did at my place.
Hmm.
Is that I have a gazebo that's maybe 30 feet away from the house. And when I was out there and I'd be streaming video on my phone, sometimes it would get choppy and I'd do speed tests on it. And my normal wired connection speed is 175. When I tested on the phone going to my router, which is an X10, I was getting about 20 to 25. So I then tossed an Orbi in there and put it on the inside of the wall that's closest to the outside, went out to the gazebo, did the same speed test on it with everything in exactly the same place, and I got 175 off of it.
There
Wow.
you
So
go.
it literally was
Ooh,
night and day.
that's
That's awesome.
175 in a gazebo.
175 in the gazebo. My jaw hit the ground. I was blown away.
That
You move
is
your
pretty
office over
good.
there.
Yep.
It's summer.
Oh, my outdoor region is 1 acre, big patio, bench swinging
Oh,
around the fact that, okay, you probably should get an outdoor
absolutely the
Orbi.
outdoor Orbi.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's awesome.
That,
But then,
that's
like,
it's a big
you're
space.
getting snow and freezing rain tonight. That's pretty crazy. It's starting to warm up over here. So, I mean,
Ah,
regardless, the outdoor Orbi will be able to handle that. But no, that's
yeah.
pretty nuts. You know.
Oh, yeah. And in fact, the outdoor Orbi has a sort of a heater unit inside it to keep it warmed up when it gets really cold, because it does have to be AC powered. And so that helps it in cold climates.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
I did
Got its
not
own
know that
little
it
warmer.
had its own heater. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
basically,
nuts.
it is its own heater too. But don't worry about the power bills.
You
Got
ever
a quick
pull?
question from Snaker Gomzi. How to get a constant ping? Uh, that's kind of a big question. What are you trying to get a constant ping on? That would be
And is
the next
is
follow-up.
yeah, is it a constant ping where you're trying to test something, or do you mean a constantly low ping?
Yeah.
Yeah, constantly low ping.
Yeah,
That's
let
an
us know.
that's an NVG. You know, you can get
It is, but
Yeah.
there's a couple different directions that we can go
yeah.
depending on what you're trying to connect to, and if you're trying to get a constant low ping, there's a couple of different things from like geofencing to anti-buffer bloat to advanced QoS to application QoS. There's a lot of different ways that we can get there.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Mike?
We had a bit of a follow-up from Mike here. Wi-Fi analytics, home testing with the Nighthawk app. At 100% signal, he got 866 megabytes per second down, which is what you should be getting from your extender.
Mhm.
So that's good that you're getting that speed. Um, I'm
He says
curious.
that's that is not a speed test.
Well, actually, with the Wi-Fi analytics, it is still running a speed test. And depending on who the Wi-Fi analytics program is from, I know the one that we have, you're actually pinging against one of our NETGEAR servers, as opposed to the random ones when you run speedtest.net. But it is still a speed test.
Yeah, something to note, Mike, about kind of really really nailing down what your speed is a lot of these. You don't want to use your download speed as a benchmark for your speed necessarily. Like when you are downloading something from Steam, right? You're downloading it from their server, and that server could be a massive bottleneck. So like I get 210 megabytes per second down on my speed test. When I download something from the internet, I maybe get it at like 40 megabytes down. So
Yeah.
it depends on what speed test you're running and how you want to gauge it. If you are getting 866 megabytes down from your Nighthawk app on your speed test, you're getting the best speed you're going to get from your router or from your expander. Like that's a good speed. That's how it should be performing. So yeah, he's using the Nighthawk app. If you're getting
Yep.
866 down, you're getting that's good connection. That's what you should be getting on that product. So
Yeah. Also that Nighthawk app, when it's running, it's actually running the speed test on the router, which means that that's the speed down to the router, not to the individual device that you're running the app on. So your internal Wi-Fi might only be 200 megabits a second, but when you run that, that's going to tell you what you're getting from the internet down to your router, not the internet down to your phone.
Got it.
Yeah, that's a key thing to know about our app, is that it's actually testing the router to the internet, not your client, which is why speedtest.net is good to run off of the client, because that's literally going from the client out to the internet.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
I didn't even know that. That's cool.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, let's see if there's anything we missed here.
Yeah. We're almost down to, well, technically 8 minutes. So, everyone who's watching right now, this is your time to get your last questions in. Again, we do this every Friday, 12 to 2. We didn't even get to filler questions. Sometimes we have
we have 8 minutes. Do you have an Angelo filler question?
Wait, let's see here. I did have one. Okay. Well, I guess we kind of had it from Robert. What's the biggest and baddest Wi-Fi setup you could build?
Yeah.
But I just kind of want to. I thought this was a cool question, but I wasn't here on the show last week. You just won the lottery and you're able to upgrade your gaming setup, and let's say your smart home setup. I'll just do that. What are you gonna buy? What's the first thing you buy to upgrade your whole entire house, gaming, computer, everything? What are you gonna do?
I know exactly what I'd get. I would get one of those like insane, like 8K OLED Samsung TVs. I have like a really
8K.
I have like a really cheap TCL 4K TV, and it's great. It's 4K. But if you've ever gone to like Best Buy and really looked at those expensive TVs, they look tangibly different. Like they look way better, and I want one so bad so I can watch nature documentaries and just like stare at it and be like,
24/7.
Nature documentaries.
yes, like imagine Planet Earth on just like the craziest TV, and then maybe I could get like some sort of like AI upscaling, like action going on in there, and like have it scale up to 8K from 4K or something like that. I know that the NVIDIA Shield Pro has a really good AI upscaling from 1080p to 4K. So I'm thinking, what if I could get something that upscales from 4K to 8K and then put that on my 8K TV? That'd be amazing. I would
So you
love
just want to
that.
watch nature documentaries. That's it. That's
Oh
all I'm
yeah,
getting.
nature documentaries. Yeah, yeah,
Right? But
exactly.
where are you gonna get your 8K content? M Dog is asking.
The AI upscaling, it's all going to be 8K. AI
It will.
upscaling is
Right.
pretty solid.
I see. I'm also in the agreement. I would the first thing I'm going with 8K TV, even though nothing is in 8K. But I'm pretty sure that Samsung or LG has like some sort of. You were at CES, weren't you, Michael? Didn't they have
Yep.
any like 16K
Yep.
things that were out there on display? I would get the 16K, not because it makes any sort of logical or reasonable or rational means,
Yep.
but if I have it on my wall, I could say, "Hey, look, check out my 16K TV," and then of course, my friends are going to clown me with a question like, "M Dog, well, where the hell are you going to get that content for 16K?" But that's not the reason. The reason is because it's 16K.
So it's a
And the good
flex,
news
is
is
what you're
that
saying.
It's
the
totally
good news is those TVs most likely are going to upscale to the 16 anyway. I know the Samsung 8K automatically upscales to 8K, so you'll at least get a little bit better video, even if it's only a 4K video coming through.
right. But imagine how fast Comcast is gonna data cap me for that.
Oh yeah.
I could only like watch shows or do stuff on the internet for only half the month because I'm gonna hit my cap right about the 13th day.
Well, that's about the time you're supposed to get out and get some sunshine.
And I just want to shout out Vanessa real quick too. She wants a Samsung wall.
Yep, there
so
you
she
go.
can get a 200-inch plus screen. So I wonder,
Yeah.
Hey, what could we do on our Pro AV side? Let's get just a massive video wall in my house. Can we do that?
Easily.
Why
We can
not?
easily do that. We can scale those things up. We just need to get edgeless screens so that they're nice and tight together, and we can scale up as big as you want. As long as we have enough encoders and decoders, we got you covered.
I want to walk down my hallway and then just have like this massive welcome home just kind of like slide down as I walk through, and just these sensors lighting up my house. That's what I'm gonna do.
That's gonna require Vanessa to do a bunch of punch cards to program those walls.
There you go. I would like to have the 70-degree, so that way I have, when I'm playing Forza or any flying games, it's around me. So that's in addition to my wall TV.
Yeah, when I got my my curved monitor for my home here, and my friends saw it, they were like, "Why don't you just get like 50 of them, and then just wrap it around your head?"
So you can just go here and then look over here and then just like look over
Yeah,
there.
I mean that'd be cool.
Minecraft.
Oh my God, full
Minecraft.
immersion Minecraft. That sounds amazing.
But it's cheaper just to get the VR headset. And then
we
you got
got
it around anyway.
At that point.
We got a question that came in. Zoom. Does NETGEAR make or planning to make a Wi-Fi 6 satellite Alexa speaker to link with the Nighthawk router?
Wow.
So we do have the Orbi voice, but that's a Wi-Fi 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's another message to send to our product team, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't really tell you whether or not they're planning on making one of those Wi-Fi 6 or not, but the Orbi voice is a really cool satellite. So
And
if you haven't checked that out yet,
I think the newer voices, not the product name, but they have extender mode as well, right?
Yeah.
Similar to outdoor Orbi. So yeah, typically, usually on the Orbi line, you're kind of, in the Orbi ecosystem. But then, we have a couple standout products like Orbi Outdoor, which we talked about early in the stream, and then Orbi Voice. So if you get Orbi Voice, it'll be Wi-Fi 5. But in case you haven't seen that, it has really good audio from Harman Kardon.
It has amazing audio.
Yeah, we played a lot with it in our old Twitch streams. I actually missed that. Let's bring that back.
They're pretty solid. Yeah. All right, I think we answered the last question. Got some more comments from M-Dog. He has a 6K camera and three curved monitors. M-Dog's living the high life.
Yeah, that's big pimpin' style.
That's great. A 6K camera, I'm already kind of scared. I feel like if I look at myself through a 6K camera, I'm like gonna be like, I'll see all my pores and my imperfections. I don't even know if I want that.
The Sony A7 series is mostly 6K now, so they're pretty it's a thing. If I take a photo, you'll definitely see all your pores. So
man,
but
get
these
it
are
away
solid. It's getting dusty though because I don't even shoot anymore because I'm stuck at home. So I'm kind of sad. I know.
That was your new one too.
This is my new one. Yeah, I got the Sigma lens on it.
The lens.
Dude, the lens is amazing. But
can't even go out
anyways.
to shoot too.
Well, I just want to say thanks to everybody that joined us and stuck around. Thanks for all of your questions. Thanks again to the panel. This is fantastic. We've been doing these every week for I don't know how many weeks, but we'll continue to do these as long as you guys keep showing up. So we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Right. Really good chatting today. We'll be here at 12 to 2. You know where to find us on the YouTube channel, and see you guys next week.
Yeah, guys.
And no, Vanessa, you do not want to see us on the 75-inch 4K TV. Really, you don't.
No one wants to see that.
I know. I'll keep my camera low res on this.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah.
I need to look good,
All right, everybody. We're going to sign off.
All right. Thanks a lot. See you later.
Take care.
Cool.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye, guys.